be in place of Ed Reyes today. I'm joined today by Councilmember Paul Krikorian. And what I'll do first is go through the continued items and the consent items, and then we will take up the items that have been called special, either by staff, a council member, or by cards. So to go through the agenda, items 8, 9, and 10 will be continued. Item 8 will be continued in Plum until October 19th. Item 9 will be continued in Plum until January 25th, 2011. And item number 10 will be continued in Plum until October 26th. So those items have been continued.
Councilman, also item 2 is being continued.
We have a card on that one. We will continue it, but I'm going to give the speaker an option to speak or to speak when we bring that item back. So thank you for that. So 8, 9, 10, and we will continue 10, but we'll get to that. The following items will be on consent. Items number 3, 4, 5, and 6. And Mr. Krikorian, item number 4, is that okay to be on consent? Yep, okay. So these items will be approved on consent. And so with that, I will first take up item number 2 and then go to the Director of Planning's report, if any. So with those items on consent, is there a second, Mr. Krikorian? Second. So we'll approve those items on consent. So we'll go back to item number 2 and item number 2.
Yes, council members, item 2 is a report from the Cultural Heritage Commission. It's relative to the inclusion of the Where-Was Kusayane residence as a historic monument. Property is located in CD10.
Okay, thank you. We do have one speaker card. This item is slated to be continued until October 19th. Ma'am, you could speak now or decide to speak on the 19th, but we'll call you up at this time. Laura Myers?
Yes, I'm Laura Myers, 1818 South Gramercy Place, and I represent United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council. I believe actually it's to be continued till next week because you have a time expiration. Is that correct? That's what's on the agenda, is a time expiration.
Yes, my notes say October 19th.
Right.
Right, and the agenda item actually says the 13th it expires. In any case, I will come back for whenever it is scheduled, but I'm basically here to say 2 things. One, when community members already showed up 2 weeks ago, luckily I'm the only one who showed up today, and now I'll take a 3rd day off from work because a new owner who closed escrow in the middle of the process, knowing that it was about to be designated historic, where the seller completely disclosed everything. They met with the neighborhood council, we disclosed everything. To keep putting it off makes no sense. In other words, so that's mainly what I want to say. And I would appreciate in the future, without sounding too witchy, if things are going to be continued at the last minute, the clerk has our contact information at minimum. Well, you're saying no, but since I got the notice, the answer must be yes. At minimum, let us know so that we don't take an afternoon off from work. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those comments. And I believe that the owner requested a continuance on this, and the local council office okayed it. But nonetheless, your point about having proper notice is duly noted, and we will make a better effort in making sure all people are informed who are interested. So with that, we will continue this item until October 19th.
Excuse me, Council, just for clarification on the time limit, this has a 90-day time limit. In addition, Council can add an additional 15 days if it so desires to extend the time limit, and that would take the time limit to October 28th.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And
we have to take action now.
If there's no objection, you don't need to, but you can, just for the record.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. LeGrand, for being with us today on item number 11, the Director's Planning report, and I don't believe we have one today. Is that accurate?
Michael Grand, Director of Planning, City of Los Angeles Planning Department. Just give you a brief update on what's been happening in the last 30 days. Under my watch, we've been diligently working on completing our department's reorganization plan. Staff has been meeting with internal staff as well as some stakeholders to get some ideas, looking at prior audits and coming up with an organizational structure that really takes into account our limited resources and doing things a lot more in an efficient manner, but also trying to be effective in the areas that we've fallen short in the past and re-engineer some of our processes so that the staff has an opportunity to catch up now that some of our applications have come down, and also looking at shifting staff in areas where we have a backlog of cases, and that has historically been a problem for the department, moving some staff into those divisions to help kind of bolster our case processing, and then also try and get a separation with some of our advanced planning arms so that we can make sure that we project manage those projects correctly, but also that we have resources devoted to them that we can utilize through our trust fund and the funding that comes through our general plan maintenance program. And so we've been working really diligently on the reorganization of the department, and we should have something to present to you within about a month. In addition to that, we're moving forward before the city's managed hiring committee to get 4 positions released for our expedited processing section. These positions are completely paid for by application fees, and so we're hopeful that the committee will see that it's actually something to help the economy, help get projects built and put people to work. So we'll be going through the process to actually get those positions released from the managing hiring program. And that's all I have to report this week.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll note and file that item number 11. Next item, Roberto.
That would be item 1, Councilman, which is a report from Building and Safety. It's a proposed ordinance which amends the municipal code to adopt the 2010 California Building Code, which includes the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and new 2010 California Residential Code.
Good afternoon, honorable council members, staff. My name is Victor Cuevas, and I'm the code engineer for Building and Safety. This is Mr. Osama Yunin, and he will get a chance to explain something at the end of my brief presentation. Every 3 years, the state of California adopts the most updated codes, such as the building, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing codes. This year, the state is also adopting the International Residential Code and the new Green Code. Once the state adopts the new codes, local jurisdictions such as the City of Los Angeles must enforce them. However, the state allows for local jurisdictions to make necessary amendments based on geologic, topographic, or climatic conditions. Most of the LA City amendments have been the same for the last few code cycles and are being enforced currently. However, every code cycle we must make minor adjustments to these amendments, such as correcting references to other sections of the code, make minor language adjustment, and in some cases relocate sections as a new code may change in format. Although this year the state of California is adopting the International Residential Code, this has no impact on our fees, since the fee schedule for plan check and inspection for 1 and 2 family dwellings and townhouses, which is what this code is intended for, is already in the Los Angeles Municipal Code. Therefore, we are not creating new fees in this adoption of the codes. On the hearing held August 17th of 2010 by the Building and Safety Commission, there were no public comments. Therefore, we respectfully request the adoption of these new codes. Also, just to clarify, the adoption of the new Green Code is following a different track and was presented to Plum on September 21, 2010. And now Mr. Osama will have explain something related to the plumbing code ordinance.
Good afternoon, honorable council members. We made a minor revision to the draft that we've given you for the plumbing code, and there are specifically 2 minor revisions on the PEX and CPVC pipe, and we added clarification as to when a plan check is required. And we respectfully request that you adopt this revised version. Thank you.
The Green Code would take effect January 1st, 2011?
Correct.
And do we have enough time for us to adopt our ordinance and be on time for that?
We are going through the process, and it's going to be really tight, but we're doing our best. we will have time to go January 1st, but we're trying to do as fast as possible to allow us time to give adequate training and do some public outreach and education.
And do we adopt the complete green codes, or do we have some flexibility on looking what could better be suited for us here locally?
Actually, the latter. We do have some flexibility, and we actually did do that based on the recommendations that this committee has given us and based on instructions we received from council to expand the applicability of it to include additions and alterations. So we've done that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hold on one second. Mr.
Yeah,
Krekorian?
just briefly, what, since this is a routine adoption that's done in response to the state's readoption every 3 years, what is the process by which the construction industry and trades are given an opportunity to comment locally? I mean, is there some outreach effort that the city does in order to have the local construction trade have an opportunity to weigh in on the codes?
We hold public hearings like we did early in August, but we also, through the local chapter of the International Code Council, we have conducted various meetings, technical discussions about amendments that we have held in our codes for many years, and when there is need for adjustments, we do reach out to the Structural Engineering Association for comments and opinions on what we should do as far as making changes, and also to the to AIA, which is the American Institute of Architecture. So we have various meetings with industry to discuss, again, the various amendments that we currently enforce, and if we see flexibility or the need to make the appropriate amendments or changes, we certainly make those changes at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we'll approve and adopt the report and send to council. Second.
Actually, Councilman, you may wish to approve and request the city attorney to prepare the final ordinance.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll adopt that recommendation. Next item.
The next item, Councilman, is a report from the Planning Commission. It's a zone change. It's a new mixed-use project, 150 units in CD7.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Frank Kwan with the City Planning Department. I was the hearing officer of record on the case. The commission approved the subject case on June 24th for a zone change, density bonus, and site plan review. I understand there are modifications to that the applicant is requesting. Staff reserves the right to review those modifications and comment on them, and I'd be happy to do that in a moment. Should the committee decide to provide modifications to this case, I hope that you'll consider some of the staff's comments, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We have one public speaker. Kirkin Ayanakan.
Honorable council members, we had several items that we found ambiguous in the report, but luckily we were able to work with staff and clarify all of it. We just passed out a 2-page summary of what was left. The first one got resolved only this morning, and there's a proposed language from the planning department that's acceptable to us, except for one word. It says low-income senior households. The project is not a senior household, it's adult living over 55. I presume that that error will be corrected by the planning department. And item number 2 is a modification from the planning commission hearing, which is we were requested a 2-foot dedication on one street, and we have certain decorative towers that come out, and those now, after the dedication, will be on the property line, and we want that language in the final ordinance so that we don't have to change the appearance of the building, since it's a 400-foot-long building, and those towers are the ones that mitigate the length of the building. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, for staff, do we adopt this, or is there additional amendments that were proposed? And, you have them here?
Mr. Chairman, because it involves an ordinance, you would have to direct staff to go back, make the modifications, and come back to council with a report for their approval.
Okay. And the applicant, you're okay with working on these items before it gets to council? So we'll adopt it as is with this amendment? You deleting the word senior from?
Correct, with that amendment, and I believe there are a few minor corrections in
Well, this is what we're adopting?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Council District 7, wish to add anything, or is that okay? You're fine? Council District 7? You guys want to add anything? No? Yes?
Good afternoon, Council Member. Faisal Al-Sari, Planning Deputy for Council Member Richard Alarcon. Apologize for being a bit tardy on this. The council member has reviewed the applicant's requests and does support the changes. There was an issue, and I apologize, I missed the discussion here, but there was a... Okay, great. So that, I guess the issues have been resolved, and we do just request your support on this item. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, we'll adopt this report along with this amendment and send to council. Is there any... Do we know when it's going to council?
No, but the deadline is the 24th, Councilman, of November.
Okay, and our clerk will work to set that date up. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So ordered. Next item.
That would be public comment, Councilman.
Public comment. There's no public comment. He just gives me the easy ones when that. Well, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.